Chris, what is our fourth main topic today?
This comes from Justin Vossenberg. Hey, John and crew. Marvel published an article on their website on the weekend with quotes from Ludwig Göransson about Wakanda Forever soundtrack. In it, Göransson states, using Ryan Coogler and Joe Robert Cole's script as a blueprint, we began to build a musical vocabulary for the characters, storylines, and cultures of Talocan and Wakanda. Is this a hint towards Namor not being the king of Atlantis in the MCU, but rather a nation named Talocan? Could Marvel be attempting to distance their property from DC's Atlantis and Aquaman? Thanks.
This is one of those things where you're like, yeah, reading the blood. Wait a minute, stop. What did they just say?
Yeah.
Talocan?
Sorry if I said it wrong, y'all.
Yeah, listen, I have not, with all the comics that I've read, I've not followed a lot of Submariner or Namor, right? I've not followed a lot of them. So you'll have to forgive me that this is a new one to me.
Mm-hmm.
Talocan?
Talocan.
What's that?
I just said Talocan.
Talocan, or Jersey. Yeah, we're pronouncing Jersey.
I don't know.
I'm like, wait a minute, what's that? And I thought, well, maybe that's just Ludwig's, like, his euphemism for Atlantis or whatever, but it's not just him. This comes to us from the folks over at Screen Rant, who wrote the following. Merchandise for Black Panther Wakanda Forever has now confirmed this theory. The Hasbro website is now accepting pre-orders for merchandise related to Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And the description of the Marvel Legends action figure of Namor, the Submariner, reveals that he isn't the ruler of Atlantis at all, but rather it reads, the ruler of Jersey, or of Talocan, an ancient civilization hidden in the depths of the ocean. Namor will stop at nothing to protect his people. And I went, that's interesting. Now, I already know what is happening because, listen, can I admit something I'm not proud of? Can I admit something I'm not proud of? All right.
Always.
There was this one time. This is going back years. I'm a big fan of Highlander. Huge, like the original Highlander that's the one surprise pick that I have in my top 10 all-time favorite movies. Like all my other top 10 people go, okay, yeah, that's cool. That one's cool. As soon as I say the Highlander, they're like, wait, what? But yeah, Highlander's in my top 10, deal with it. And I remember reading an article and this article wrote this thing. They said, oh, okay, there's a Highlander sequel or a reboot coming. This is back, I think, when Ryan Reynolds was going to be doing the Highlander reboot. And they wrote, there can only be one. And that's in the headline. And I wrote this irate, angry email. It's like, if you're going to write about the movies, know what you're talking about. Is there can be only one. Not there can only be one. What? How stupid was that of me to nitpick over that? Some writer got the order words and I lost my mind, or I'm like, how dare you, sir? Like, it's like, I'm so, now I look back on that, I'm like so fucking embarrassed that I did that. It's totally ridiculous. But so that, I just bring that up to highlight that I am guilty of this too. But as a fellow guilty member, I can already hear some of the hardcore Namor fans going, how dare you, sir? He is the king of Atlantis. And I get it. This is a massive shift to call it Talocan instead of Atlantis. And I get it. And even as somebody who's not a hardcore Namor fan, even to me was, well, that's kind of dumb that they would do that. But you know what? I gave it some thought. And I think you're absolutely right that what you wrote in there. This, and I think Screen Rant got it right too. This is them saying, you know what? DC beat us to the punch. They got Aquaman out before we did Namor. And Atlantis is their kingdom, and they got a whole mythology of Atlantis and blah, blah. And we don't want to create any confusion. And we don't want to create comparison. And we don't want to create all this. You know what? It's just going to be better and easier for us if we just say this lost undersea kingdom he rules is something called Talocan. Talocan or whatever.
I don't know.
Ray saying we should name it. It's just going to be easier for us. It doesn't affect our storytelling. It doesn't affect anything at all in the movie. Just we've given it a different name. 95% of the people who are going to come to these movies have never read Namor in a comic book anyway. And so while I'm not sure if I was in the boardroom of Marvel when this concept got brought up, I'm not sure I wouldn't have said, you know, well, let's just keep it Atlantis. It's fine. Let's just keep, I probably would have voted, just keep it Atlantis. But had I been outvoted, I don't think I'd lose any sleep over it So this is surprising. I don't think it's a decision I would have made, but I understand the logic behind it. And frankly, I'm okay with it. It's not what I would have chosen, but I'm okay with it. Hey guys, we want to take a second and thank the sponsor of this episode, MeUndies. Now you guys have heard us talk about MeUndies, the legendary underwear brand that has totally taken over the podcasting world. And guys, I've been wearing MeUndies for the last couple of months, and I can honestly tell you it changes your day when you start off your day by putting on a pair of the most comfortable underwear you've ever worn, knowing that you're going to be walking in comfort all day in MeUndies. Everyone knows MeUndies for their super soft undies and comfy bralettes, but did you know that they make other stuff too? We're talking durable, cushy socks that will make your feet sing. We're talking super stretchy loungewear. We're talking daily tees, shorts, and rompers that add a little silky softness to your everyday. They even make hoodies for your dog so you can match every important person in your life. Available in sizes of extra small to 4XL and tons of colors and prints, make MeUndies your destination for all things soft and sustainable. MeUndies has a great offer for John Campea Show listeners. For any first-time purchasers, you get 20% off plus free shipping and returns. To get 20% off your first order, free shipping, and 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/Campea. That's MeUndies.com/Campea. Rob, you hear about Talocan for Namor's kid. What do you think about this change?
Well, here's the thing. For me, like the MCU, they've had to, throughout the MCU, they've adapted comic stories, adapted things to fit the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think there's a great opportunity here. From what I understand, Talocan is steeped in Aztec mythology.
Yes.
So you now have an entire part of the world, all of South America, Central America, Mexico. You have all of the mythology, whether you want to use the Incas, the Mayans. I mean, everything. You've got hundreds of years of history that really no one's mined yet. And so it's a part of the world. If you've got Wakanda's Africa, Atlantis is still kind of a Greco-Roman thing, like Greeks and all that. If you look into the world, that's where okay. But how interesting it is that you can go to another part of the world and mine a rich history, a rich people, a whole rich mythology that nobody's made use of. And you can still have an undersea kingdom. It's just not Atlantis, and you've got Quetzalcoatl, and you can use the Day of the Dead, and you can use all of this different imagery, which is pretty cool. I mean, I was kind of hoping that they would shift Atlantis and put it over more toward Asia. Maybe it was an Asian, and you could cast a great Asian actor to play Namor. But we got that with Shang-Chi. I got my man Tony Leung in Shang-Chi. Now we get to go to a different part of the world, and you're really making the MCU more global in scope. So I think from a cinematic standpoint, it's cool. I think there's going to be a lot of purists like, why isn't it Atlantis? But if it's an undersea kingdom with different iconography, I mean, you've got Wakanda using all of Africa. Now you've got, I would love to see armies in Toltec, Mayan, Aztec fighting Africans. I mean, just the costume design of those people fighting each other, if that's what they're going to do, would be awesome. Because you could identify the different armies and stuff. It'd be cool.
And just visually, from a design point of view, it's going to be like unlike anything else we've had in these films before.
Yeah, totally. And look what they did. Look what they did with Shang-Chi with the costumes and
so gorgeous.
Yeah, right. And so I think what they're doing. I mean, to me, everybody talks about everyone's inclusion, identity politics. I'm like, but when you do it right, when you actually make use of these rich cultures that have hundreds, if not thousands, like with China, thousands of years of history. It's really cool. And it becomes visually, look, we got Egyptian iconography and Moon Knight. And now if you're going to avail yourself of all the rich history in Central and South America and Mexico, how cool is that going to be?
Chris, I admit, reading it at first is like, wait, what? It's not Atlantis?
Yeah.
But I think there's some good rationale behind it here. You hear about this. What's your reaction to it?
Oh man, well I fell down a big old rabbit hole because I was like, I want to research this. So I've been reading up on the Aztec gods and this paradise that it's all based on. And this was a place in some versions of this mythology where people who died due to disease or rain or just severe deaths went to this like one level of a 13th paradise kind of afterlife system, which is very, very cool to read about. Y'all, the internet's wild. I love this. And I think this all goes back to a greater concept, too, that you've brought up before, Rob, of thinking about how theology plays into the greater MCU right now because we deal with gods and celestials and Catholicism with Daredevil, right? How does theology then factor into these very, very grounded, real beings that people interact with on a one-on-one level? Does that affect spirituality? Does that change a belief system? And that's maybe a heady concept that we're not going to dive into too much in this Marvel universe, but I hope we do. I think that'd be fascinating.
Well, you're dealing with the cosmology of all this stuff too, between the Celestials, the Egyptian gods, the Chinese gods. I mean, those gods, the Asgardians, they're aliens, or they've been around in the universe for a long time. So what they're doing is, yes, there's Earth is a place where people have interacted, but the Asgardians call Earth Midgard. And so you've got a much larger cosmology that's going cosmic. And if we're going to meet Adam Warlock with Guardians, all of this stuff is all intertwined. It is truly the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I love seeing this stuff expand this way. I think it's cool.
All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? They're getting away from Namor being the king of Atlantis and calling it something else. I think the rationale is sound, even though it feels a little off-putting at first. And you go, wait, right. What? But whatever. Guys, what do you think about this? What would you have done if you were in the boardroom of Marvel at that time? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there.